Yo, what's up, YouTubers and Amazonians? I'm just putting the finishing touches on yet another awesome content. Stick around if you want to learn more about Amazon location services, Amazon Lumberyard, or even quantum computing, because today we're chatting with AWS VP of Technology, Bill Vass. Bill oversees more than 42 cloud and edge technology services. If you're interested in seeing our previous conversation with Bill Vass, take a look up here where we talked about the AWS Snow family, from the snowball, the snow cone, and the infamous snowmobile. Now, if you want to see more content around YouTube, OBS Ninja, and Amazonians, don't forget to click that like, subscribe, and smash that notification button. I think it's time we begin. Let's grab our headphones and get started. Oh well, please join me in welcoming Bill Vass to the show. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John. Happy to be here.
Bill, we're going to jump right into these series here. AWS released Amazon Location Services during reInvent. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So Amazon Location Services allows you to integrate geospatial information into everything you do on AWS, and also mobile apps and integrated sort of across the board, because everything has a location, right? Everything happens in a location, whether it's IoT data and you want to place those on the map, or tracking cars and tracking assets, those kinds of things. It's all available. We have a couple of great partners, Esri here and Maxar, that are delivering that mapping information underneath our service components. One of the cool things about AWS Location Services is, unlike some other mapping services you might be aware of, where they require you to give your customer data to them so they can monetize it for them and not for you, your data and your customer's data are yours at AWS. Right, so the service is very inexpensive to use. It provides things like Geo Fencing. That's where you can map. You can say draw a trapezoid around a certain area and say anything going in and out of that area, alarm me, right, and let me know about it. You can do asset tracking and where all your assets are, however many assets you've got. You can do, of course, routing and placement on maps. We have 3D maps. We have satellite capability. Just normal high resolution mapping, detail of the whole globe. And there'll be more and more services coming out of it, and more added value services that integrate with AWS data services. If you're familiar with those, a lot of the data services that we have geospatial information on it, and that will seamlessly integrate with AWS Location Services. We already have thousands of customers using it. Even just since we launched it, and it's coming out GA in just a few months. It's in preview right now. I encourage everyone to give it a shot. It's very inexpensive to use. It just adds so much richness to your applications, to be able to take and drop your customer data on a map and display it in your application in just a few lines of code. It's very quick to get set up and run. We have these great partners, and there's going to be great new mapping features coming out over the coming year. I can't talk about it yet, but I'm so excited about, especially in the 3D space and things like that is going to really integrate much more and allow a lot more capabilities. And so watch that space. There's a lot of exciting things happening there.
All right, so you heard it from Bill. He can't give you some of that information on what's coming out, so pay attention to that one. I think location services reminds me of when I worked in the beverage industry in IT, and we had all our trucks, and I set it up there. All our trucks were tracked. We knew where the assets were at, and we also did a geofence on where they. So if they went outside of it, we got an alert to make sure everything was okay. Maybe there was a traffic patterns you had to worry about, or trying to figure out. And you always kind of knew where your trucks are at. And when we came out with that one, I was like, wow, I can't believe we didn't have that already. This is pretty cool. And I think the biggest thing I take away at it is your data is your data.
Yeah.
Meaning you're not sending it anywhere. Nobody else owns it. You own your data and you're utilizing it, and nobody else. I think that's probably the biggest thing taken out besides the geofencing capabilities.
Yeah, that is really something that differentiates us from a lot of the other providers is we're not using your data for advertising or monetization. Your customers' data are yours, right? You don't have any privacy issues, those kinds of things, all encrypted and stored. So you have control over it. And it's also, the price is quite compelling as well. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, as Bill said, it is in preview. I encourage you to go ahead and click on try it now button. It literally says try it now and give it a test. And let us know what you think. So I really appreciate the insight there on location services. The other thing, Bill, I got to jump into, because being a huge content provider and watching a lot of content is our next topic, AWS Lumberyard. What is Lumberyard? How can it be used?
So Lumberyard is a full end-to-end game engine, and we've got a number of AAA games launching on it very soon. One of them, of course, is in beta right now at Amazon Game Studios, called New World, which you should check out. That's a pretty amazing game right now. But there's a bunch of other studios that are launching on it as well. So what Lumberyard does is make it very easy to quickly allow your artists and your studio provider, your studio team, and your gaming team to build a game. It provides all of the components you need to do that. And I think we have a video we could show.
Oh man, you jumped right to it. So I do have a quick demo video that's going to get you really excited about the Lumberyard release that I'd like to share. Let's take a look.
When you stop to think about everything it takes to build an immersive, interactive experience, it can seem daunting. And with hefty royalties or per-seat fees, it can be quite expensive too. Not only do you have to consider building out your team to the appropriate size, but you also have to decide on which technologies and tools to use. Do you have an online or multi-user component? How do you sample different middlewares or systems? How do you empower your developers with the tools to hit the ground running and prototype quickly? Developers have many choices to solve these issues individually, but only one packages these solutions up into a single service without royalties or per-seat fees. Amazon Lumberyard. Lumberyard can be used to build high-fidelity cross-platform games, digital twins, simulations, and AR/VR experiences. You can develop, deploy, and scale faster with Lumberyard's AWS cloud integration, allowing you to grow your project without inflating costs. You can use the integrated AWS C++ SDK to harness the power of the AWS cloud in a number of different ways, such as utilizing Amazon S3 to store and transfer content and updates, building on Amazon DynamoDB to persist dynamic data at scale, performing real-time analytics with Amazon Kinesis, and managing developer identity with Amazon Cognito. Making your game stream-friendly can be as important as making it immersive and physically fun to play. Within the Lumberyard engine, you also have direct hooks to let your audience trigger events in real time. Gems allow you the flexibility to bolt on different middleware, rendering, networking, and physics solutions with a check of a box to see what fits your project best, and leave out what you don't need. This enables you to easily take advantage of shared gems and benefit from the growing Lumberyard community. Keep development costs low while you're building out systems and trying to find the fun with the Whitebox tool. Using an intuitive click-and-drag interface, you can rapidly build out an environment limited only by your imagination. When you're done, you can export your 3D proxy meshes, pass them to your 3D artists to refine, then import them back into your project, keeping development momentum unhindered. It's no secret that the way to produce a great experience is to empower your content creators with the ability to experiment. Lumberyard's visual scripting tool, Script Canvas, lets anybody hook into all of the AWS services, Twitch capabilities, gems, and more, and wire them together to respond to any user input, construct menus, and interact with the world in many different ways. It extends the tools that engineers write in such a way that empowers your entire team to help build your experience. Download Lumberyard for free today at aws.amazon.com/lumberyard and bring your vision to life.
Video was pretty cool, and not only do you have the power to create awesome games, simulations, but I really enjoy the collaboration between developers, which actually speeds up the time to release cycle.
Yeah.
And that video was awesome, and when you shared it with me, I got super excited about talking about Lumberyard.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember you're going to see is gamified interfaces everywhere. And so Lumberyard becomes this launch pad to provide gamified interfaces in cars, in how you interact with IT systems. You're going to see them in your TV sets. So just expect that being able to use Lumberyard, again, royalty free as it says in there, and the ability to launch and create this 3D environment everywhere on digital twins. It'll also carry over to simulation. And remember, I mentioned a little bit about AWS location services, some exciting 3D stuff there. You may see some exciting 3D stuff coming in that space also. And then, of course, in studio services and in the rendering area for movie and entertainment. It's just a really broad range of things that we see in the future happening with these gamified interfaces. So I'm pretty excited about the capabilities there. And there's also a machine learning side to that as well, John. So you'll see today in RoboMaker, we have a thing called WorldForge where it generates synthetic worlds and then random synthetic worlds you can run your robot in. But as the Lumberyard render engine gets more and more advanced, which it will soon, then you've got full photorealistic rendering that you can use to train your autonomous systems, your robots, or even imagine what a Deep Racer will start to look like when you can do photorealistic real-time rendering using those gamified engines and things like that. So it's I think a whole new world coming in how people will interact with machines in virtual reality, in rendering and simulation, in digital twin, in media entertainment, and embedded in systems. Expect to see gamified interfaces going everywhere and overlapping with geospatial systems as well.
Well, I actually didn't know that some of the capabilities, or thinking about some of the long-term capabilities. You talked about gamified not only in your TV, in your car. I'm just thinking the unlimited possibilities that this can bring it to you. You talked about the environment for RoboMaker, Deep Racer. I mean, it just sounds endless here. And I didn't realize the full power of Lumberyard and all the capabilities that are coming out.
Yeah, and then we're extending it so it's all pre-integrated with AWS. So it works with GameLift and GameSparks, and you can store your data in S3, and you can use the Luster for a lot of the rendering components that we have for FSX for Luster. You've got our HPC systems that will line up behind it as well, and our GPU-based desktops for streaming it. It's a nice combination of tools that we can provide.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, so Bill, I am going to switch gears here and talk about quantum computing at AWS. Mm-hmm. How about you give us an insight on that one? Because I know there's some powerful stuff there.
Yeah, that's an interesting multidimensional subject as well. Last reInvent, we launched, not this reInvent, the reInvent before, we launched Braket, which is, Braket is a term for quantum notation from Dirac. So you can take a look at that. That's where the name comes from. It is not misspelled the word bracket, as my wife said to me every time she sees it. And so Braket, we really wanted to come up with a name that didn't have Q in it. Almost every quantum service has Q in it, so we have a unique name there, and it is related to quantum computing. I think the team did an amazing job kind of coming up with that name. But quantum computing is a new type of computing that uses the physical capabilities or the physics of how particles interact at the quantum level, and so. You're measuring sort of particle spin and frequency and you can entangle the particles. You actually program it by entangling them. When you build a quantum circuit on Braket, you're actually entangling particles together to create that circuit. So what Braket does is it provides first a simulator. So you can go into a Jupyter notebook and write your quantum circuit. And be able to execute that all on EC2 in the background. So you create a simulation. When you're happy with it, the cool thing about Braket is you can say, I like this. Now I want to run it on a real quantum computer. And for a few cents, you can click a button and run it. It's called a shot on a real quantum computer. And just like we do on AWS, where we provide many choices, for example, on the CPU side, we have our great partnerships with Intel and AMD and NVIDIA, and we also have Graviton, right? And we also have Trainium, and we have our, all the different things that we're doing as well. In Braket, we have some other great partners as well, like D-Wave, if you want to try it out on an annealer machine. If you want to do, an electromagnetic cryogenic machine where the particle is an electron, you can do it on the Rigetti machine. If you want to do it on an ion trap machine, we have IonQ, so you can use an ion trap machine that traps ions for it. And watch this space. There's more and more partners coming online. So we'll have many choices for you in addition to some of the things we're doing ourselves, available on Amazon Braket. So it's very exciting times. It's still early. I don't want to overhype it, but now is the time to start starting to learn to build these quantum circuits and test your Hamiltonian equations or your optimization problems that you need to work out that a quantum computer could help you with. You've got a number of qubits to see how it works. And the cool thing it does really work. You can get valid results out of it. You still can't get results that are better than you can get on what we call a classical computer like EC2. But that will change over the next few years as more and more error-corrected qubits become available. Right. And so we have a chance with quantum computing to really solve some of the massive problems in science, and even simple things like the traveling salesman problem and optimizing a route for delivery and logistics. Right.
Yeah.
I think I know a company that ships a lot of things around that could use that.
I've got one in mind, and they're really good at it, by the way.
I know who it is, but they could save billions of dollars if they could optimize their routes better. So there's a lot of interest internally to Amazon on using quantum computers as well. So that's one of the reasons we're investing there. But I think it's an exciting new space. Now's the time to learn. We have a whole quantum a team that can help you learn. And how to be available, how to set the shots up. We try to make it as easy as possible. It's literally just Jupyter notebooks, so you can watch it run in real time when the machines are up during the day. The other thing that's great is we went with each of these providers and we did a full security evaluation. Remember, security is always number one. We're making sure all the data is encrypted, all the communication is encrypted. We're doing physical access controls. We went through their SOC 3 and SOC 7 together. We did that with all these providers, so you can use it knowing that it's got the high bar of security that AWS requires. And then we just announced the open sourcing of Penny Lane and support for that. That allows hybrid jobs and ML operations on quantum. We also announced managed hybrid jobs. And there'll be more features coming out with managed hybrid jobs and more machines coming out on Braket as we go forward. And then we also announced our partnership with CalTech down there in the quantum labs. And so we have a lot going on there as well. And we just published if you really want to have your eyes glaze over, unless you're a quantum scientist, it's amazing. Find some new architectures that we did proofs on. The team, I'm very proud of what they put together. It's about a 60-page paper of fast Fourier transforms and math and a number of things like that. But it's getting a lot of really good reception in the scientific community around quantum computing. So again, we have an amazing team, some of the best in the industry. We have a lot of flexibility, and we're right now the only cloud provider that has all this in GA available for you to use, integrated with IM and integrated with S3 and integrated with all the normal AWS tools that you're used to. And I think you'll see some interesting things. Remember, all the way back to location services, where you will be able to make calls from location service to optimized routing and things like that as this goes forward. It's going to be a fascinating space to watch. It is evolving, and now's a good time to experiment.
Yeah, you mentioned that actually a few moments ago, and now's a good time to experiment and play around with it. It takes me back to machine learning when AWS released machine learning, start playing around with it, and now look at it. Yeah. Now's the time to play around with the quantum computing here, and take a look at it. It is GA, and now's the time to learn it. And you mentioned with the labs there, Amazon Quantum Solutions Lab. Right. I read a little bit about that. And before we, wrap things up, can you give us a little bit of information on what is a Quantum Solutions Lab?
Yeah, so let's say you're a solar panel manufacturer and you want to optimize the materials in your solar panels, or you're basically you're a manufacturer that creates ammonia and hydrogen and things like that in a manufacturing center, or you're working on protein folding for drugs and things like that. We will sit down with you, and you don't know anything about quantum computers, but you've heard that because a lot of those things are about how, quantum computers are really good for use on things that are molecular, because molecular things use quantum, right? And so you've heard that quantum computers could be good for you in those spaces, or in the future as more and more error-corrected qubits become available. The Quantum Solutions Lab will sit down with you and show you how to build the circuits for that, right? And they will help you through that. And then you can experiment. You can run the simulation. Remember, you can run simulated qubits right now. And then when you're happy with how that runs, you can say, okay, I want to try this on the real machines. And we've got multiple machines for you to try out. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, the ability to have somebody come in and help you put together how would you do a Hamiltonian on Braket, or how would you do an optimization equation on Braket, or how would you set this up on Braket, and then they'll help you set up the shots. You can run set up the circuits, you can run the simulation, and then you can run the shots on the real machine, and then iterate. And so we have a lot of customers engaging in this right now, because they all know that this is an important space that will be impactful for their business in the future. And so they want to make sure they understand it.
Wow, that's interesting. Everybody, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the description below for Quantum Solutions Lab. Take a look at that as well. I'll have the link to all the videos included. Bill, this was some awesome information around location services, Lumberyard, which I'm going to play around with myself and take a look at that one. And, the quantum computing stuff, I think you and I might need to sit down a little bit longer to dive deep into some of these. Bill, it's been an awesome pleasure to sit down with you and discuss a lot of these topics. I really appreciate you taking the time out and, kind of just diving deep for the audience. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I really appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, John. And thanks, everybody, for being great AWS partners. We build these things by working and partnering with our customers. Our innovation comes from you. And so thank you for the time you spend with AWS, and look forward to innovating more together.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bill, for joining me on another edition of a Blogger Chat with Amazonians. Bill, I appreciate your time. And as always, I look forward to having another one of these in the future with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.